Hello adventurers, Lex Gray here. Welcome to another entry. Today we are exploring Lex Talk number 4. Let's begin. So, to my right, to your left, or actually to your right, to my left, we have my recent World Escabur document. This has been in the making for since episode 1 of Dark Realms, the Wolf campaign, but it was on paper. It was right here on my right. I've been taking it from paper and putting it here digitally so I can work on it. I can make progress on it at work, when I'm out and about, or here. So I will show you guys everything I have so far. Some big changes, some retconning to the very latest episode. Mostly with Ellery, and her relation to Damon. There was some conflict there. There were some conflicting storylines, which I luckily caught. Let's begin. Let's look through this. So, this is one master document. It has everything. Not notes specifically for each episode, that's typically in here, but major plot points get added into these little sections. We have characters. Here is Damon. That's what he looks like. Damon is from Corwood. He's in his 50s. His occupation is I made him the harbor master. Again, there will be some retconning. I apologize if I miss a moment to mention it's been retconned. He's the harbor master of Corwood, but he's supervised by the Corwood family. Now, we'll get to factions in a second. I've also made drastic changes to the amount of factions. Earlier commenter pointed out that 5 factions in the small little settlement, large settlement of Corwood is a bit much. So I basically scrapped all the factions. Even Frosthands is gone. And it's mainly Corwood. They are the umbrella criminal, the crime family that owns and governs with a iron fist Corwood. But there is a rebellion in the works, and then we'll get to that in a second. So his goal at the moment is find his wife, which I have also made the character for. So Damon is brave, skilled, and oppressed. Even though he's brave, he's being oppressed by the current establishment, Corwood. But his bravery has been evident because of what he tried to do, and that was go to the Dark Realms. Though I can say he got lowered in. So again, these two descriptors might be conflicting at times, but that makes it even all the better. And his disposition is wanting. He wants his wife back. Now, the wife's name is Glara, sorry, she's right there. You can probably see her at the bottom of the screen. Glara. She was jailed for disobeying Corwood family orders. She was a dockhand. She worked with Damon. They kind of ran the docks. They lived on the docks itself, the harbor. So she's not missing, which was how I was ending the last episode. I decided that we know where she is. She's being jailed, held captive as leverage for Damon's loyalty. And I have that here. So these little section here beneath the character details is kind of an ongoing development. He has 2 sons. We know this now that he is the legit father of Mortar and Wolf. Wolf is missing based on his perception. We know Wolf is alive and well to the south. He's a survivor of the Great Rift, which was, I will get to that in a second. Actually, that'll be further down the video. He sought refuge to Corwood, which is where he is now, or where he was. He is friends with Alara, a member of the Union. Remember that name, the Union. He runs the harbor at the mercy of Corwood, or they will kill his wife. He went to Arlok due to recently he went to Arlok due to a vision. I should say a vision. Typos, I will correct as we go. Seen in his dream, Dark Realms. This is Glara. She is jailed. So Glara is in her 40s. She's a dockhand. Her goal is to escape Corwood, to escape the suppression of her people. Her descriptors are she's affectionate, cheery, but stubborn. Her disposition is desperate. She's desperately trying to get out of Corwood with her family. Wife of Damien was detained by Corwood for disobeying orders from Corwood. That's probably redundant. Someone's going to that. Now in jail as leverage for Damon to remain loyal. This is Moss. This was Mortar's source. We spoke to her, I think, for an episode or two before he left Corwood. She's in her 20s. She's a freelance criminal, informant, and spy. Her goal is to collect a debt, find a person. We don't know who that person is. We might run into her again. If we do, that might be the twist right there. Might be that plot point right there. She's experienced, dangerous, and stoic. Her disposition is cooperative. So despite she is dangerous to work with, she does cooperate if the price is right. She remains neutral, not loyal to Corwood or anyone else. Often provides tips for Mortar for a spare coin. I should say probably for the right price. Knows the entire layout of Corwood, all in and outs. Ins and outs. She's the expert of Corwood. She's been in every nook and cranny. This is Griff, who unfortunately passed away in our story. Not much about him because he was kind of a short-lived character, pun intended. He's a villager, farmer. His goal was to resolve a dispute that had to do with the Misfits, his son being kidnapped, and he's honest, loyal, but bitter. But he's suspicious because of how he first interacted with Mortar. This is Albin. That's the kid we saved. Not much details about him. Son of Griff. This is Ellery. This is how I envisioned her, and these AI images actually worked out quite well. She's in her 40s. Her occupation is a member of the Frost Hands, which is no longer the truth. She is a member of the Union. I'm sorry, originally it was Corwood. That was actually a typo. The Union is the rebellion for Corwood. She is a member of it. So her goal is to protect a secret, the Union. She's aggressive, athletic, and hot-tempered. She's demanding. Her disposition is demanding. She owes Damon a favor, which is why she's helping. He'd probably saved her life. She's secretly a spy for the Union, a rebel faction within Corwood. And that's all the characters for, I think, so far, the current campaign, the current Mortar campaign. Now we have a character from the most prominent character, Master. I didn't really make a character for, or what's his name? Torgo, the servant. This is Jory. Remember him? He was our ally for some time. He was Wolf's companion. But it turns out he was the leader of the Arcane. His goal is to rule over the archives, dangerous, mischievous, persuasive, and powerful. He's hostile disposition. He often operates on his own, kind of does his own thing, while letting his arcane function independently. Very powerful magic user, but his age is taking toll on his health. Obsessed with the dark realms and anything related to it. That's his mischievous picture. That's not with his identity spell. That's his true face. That's what he looks like when it was revealed that that's him. So now we get to factions. Factions was and FYI, this is all from me. None of this text is AI. The only AI is the images. Everything is basically from my own noggin. Factions, we have the Corwood family. They are lawful evil, about 100 plus people, spread influence and power throughout North Escabur. We don't know their leader yet. The specialties are the governing body of Corwood. They do contract work, human trafficking, various other criminal activities, just kind of all over the place. They are dealing with potential rebellion rumors, or I should say with a potential rebellion. Wants to expand regime to Arlok, which was based on the previous episodes. The Union. Founders are former Corwood members, not the family. True neutral. Free Corwood. I guess neutral good might be better for that. Let's do neutral good. Or neutral... No, you know what? I'll do true neutral. Might modify that. Neutral... Yeah, actually I think neutral good is a thing. I'll get back to that. I think they are good. I'm just say they're good for now. Free Corwood from the current power structure, so that's their goal. They only have about 10 plus people. They are struggling to recruit for the cause. Spying, tracking, transport of refugees, etc. I should say also aid. Then to the Misfits. They are what we have been dealing with the past 10 or so, 5 episodes or so. 5, 10 episodes. Lost count. The location, the peaks of, I'm going to say, a camp within peaks of Pantheon. Chaotic evil, they are bad. Establishing dominance in the north. We don't know the leader. He's been killed. Actually, 20 plus members based on how we've uncovered them, I think, so far. That's fair to say. And then they deal with black market training, weapons, stolen goods. So they typically have, I should say, a stronghold, or had. A lot of this is past tense. They had spies in Arlok that informed the base when supplies arrive in Arlok. Again, redundancy. Known for pillaging, threatening, and stealing from Arlok. Had an ongoing turf war with the Corwood regime over Arlok control, which was kind of in the story. Then there is some. These last two factions are from the Hulth arcs. The archives, we know in the city of Haldreth, lawful good. They collect and research the clouded history of Escabur. We don't know their leader or size yet. Their specialties are collecting magical artifacts, exploration, espionage, historical research. Operates beneath the main library of Haldreth, has an unknown amount of operatives throughout Escabur, collects research, and maintains powerful artifacts, has vast influence in key settlements, operates under a bureaucratic leadership. Enemies are the Arcane. Then there's the Arcane. They are in somewhere in the northeast region of South Escobar, surrounding Haldreth mostly. Neutral evil, defeat and take over the archives. Jory is our leader, as we discovered. Thievery, collecting, espionage, and spying, which is espionage. Some redundancy there. Enemies of the archives, similar to the archives, just less bureaucratic and more evil. Collect, learn, destroy. All right, locations now. We are reaching, the next section is probably the biggest. So, locations, we have Corwood. They are a criminal government, large settlement. Now, I do have the timelines here. I do have years. I call it year, then the number. So year 30 is when it was founded. And their problems are their Union rebels are planning a mass takeover of the Corwood family regime, run by the Corwood family crime family. I guess the Corwood family is a better way of saying that. Arlok, former government, tribalism. They don't have a real establishment. They just kind of a community base run. It's hard to describe. But they are a small settlement. They were found in the year 32. I think currently it's year 80 in the mortar campaign. They have no governing body. Under constant threat from the Misfits. Receives occasional humanitarian aid from Haldreth. Haldreth is very nice. They will provide supplies, food, resources to needy settlements. They often see themselves as the harbinger, the what do you call it? The harbinger, the the holy grail of Escabur. They see themselves as the beacon of hope, and we are right here. I didn't finish Escabur Haldreth just yet. I was going to start typing out. They're run by a council, so run by a religious group of 20 council members. Yeah. Okay. That's all I'm really put for now. I'm gonna work on them a little longer, a little later, because they have a pretty good. I'm gonna give them pretty good history because they were the first discovered location settlement in Escabur, which I will get to. Again, I got plenty of history here. So back to Arlok. Corwood regime looks to control Arlok as a hub. Haldreth, fortified city, theocratic oligarchy, fortified, etc., run by a religious group of 20 council members. Then there's Ashford, Temple of Dragon, Ravenshade. No details on them besides the years, as you can see. So village, fortified city. Oh, no, not fortified. Fortified castle. Or I should just say castle, which is right now in ruins. It's been destroyed. Ravenshade, we haven't done much about that yet. These are locations we've discovered. There are still many more locations, a handful of locations we haven't been to, like Cornerstone, and actually the map right here is, I think it's called. Oh yeah, I have the Escobar map right here. So Yeah, Septhane, Castle Emberstock, and Dormon. Barely Dormon in the Dark Realms, but Cornerstone, obviously, we haven't been to. So those are remaining handful of locations. And Barco Island, Watchstone Island, they all have landmarks of their own respects. Okay, let's go back to now. It's Escabur. This is the lore of Escabur. So I will read on from here. Discovered by the famous Sheshem navigator Rain Escabur Titus, settled and ruled under the Sheshem's society, a diverse group of human settlers who traversed the seas many generations ago. Currently, has two main islands: North Escabur and South Escabur. North Escabur is far more savage, remote, and lawless. It is sparsely inhabited, with human settlers like outcasts and former refugees from the years of the Great Rift. The template is mostly cold and wet. At the heart of the peaks of the Pantheon, which is at the heart is a peaks of the Pantheon, which is muddled with superstitions and urban legends. The wildlife in the region is aggressive and rather territorial. It is a contextual note. There is a lonesome elder dragon. I call it the Esper dragon, currently hibernating in the tallest peak of Esper. The tallest peak, which is called Esper. The infamous bandit clan known as the Misfits camp within the mountains. The Pantheon Hills are rough and suffer severe windy conditions due to its geography. Much like the surrounding forest, the area remains mostly unexplored. The dark wood greens are extensive and dense. Inhuman creatures. Oh, you know what? While I'm reading this out loud, let's go to the Escobar map. That way you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So, the Pantheon Hills are right there in the middle of the North Escobar Islands, just kind of lower middle. The two greens are the darkwood greens, I had a typo here. Darkwood greens are extensive and dense. Inhuman creatures rumored to reside within the densest areas of the forest. After the rift, human settlers have a tendency to keep away from the certain denser regions within the forest. So, we'll get to the rift in a second. I might have to explain that. I'm not too sure if I detail that enough. Let's go back to the map. Okay. Barco Island is a towering, mysterious sacred site once used by the Eldoranians hundreds of years ago, currently abandoned. So the Eldoranians are the prior inhabitants, but they were gone. They're gone. So we don't know what happened to them. Let's see. South Escobar was discovered by the human settlers 250 years ago, while the island was whole. It was a warm-tempered climate. It has a warm-tempered climate with a mixture of mountains, forests, and grasslands. There are a handful of human settlements throughout the land, vastly more civilized and organized than its northern counterpart. The Cursed Center is the only exception. It's a wide section of the northern end that is contaminated by dark magic residue seeping in from the rift long ago, originating from Ashford. The Great Top Range is a lush, abundant valley between two dense mountainous regions, often used by travelers though often problematic due to the cursed center. The Greenwood Forest is a rich, dense forest, lush with wildlife and often used for hunting. The western peaks are remote and tall. Not much is known about this region. The Watchstone Island is the result of the rift and has various abandoned ruins from the Eldoria era. It also has a strange assortment of stone carvings that the city of Haldreth claimed as their own, calling it the Watchstone Assembly. Nobody is allowed on the islands per the Council of Haldreth. Okay, that is the lore, the history, I should say. Now we do the timeline. So this took a while. So I was trying to figure out how Haldreth was discovered, who were the prior occupants, and what happened after its discovery. So the prior occupants, the founding, the discovery, the settling, and then up to modern times. So the Eldoria era, the Eldorians, as I call them, pre-500, so this is like BC in our comparison, the native civilization that once inhabited Escabur, but now mysteriously vanished, only leaving behind Barco Island and the ruins of the Watchstone Island. Escabur Prime, as I call it, year zero, the moment the Sheshems discovered this and settled on Escabur. They mainly remained in Halder for several years, eventually migrating to the west and southern corners. They didn't go north, not yet. This is at the time in the north, year 30. Nearly 30 years after settling, hundreds of the city of Escabur fled north to escape a theocratic regime and eventually settled on the far north side of the Escabur Island years before the rift occurred. Many of these settlers were refugees due to lack of government. The very few settlements in the north were lawless in nature, spawning many different factions to rule and fight over territories, which is kind of accurate. Next is the Great Rift. This was the pivotal moment that our story takes place after. About 30 years, I think, after. Our story takes place around the Master's return. The Great Rift, year 50, nearly 50 years into the Shesham's occupancy of Escabur, uh, a catastrophic break in reality was unleashed by otherworldly forces. Originating from the settlement of Ashford, rumors circulating that a vicious dragon, the Master, attacked Ashford, causing its destruction and the rift to break. This was known as the Great Rift, merely known as the Rift to the locals. Unknowingly to the settlers, countless strange inhuman creatures escaped the rift from another planet, from another parallel dimension, eventually fled into the Darkwood Greens. The final timeline I have here, a timeline slot, is the Master's return. Only a select group of highly secretive factions know of the Master, who was responsible for the rift and his dragon form. After 30 years of silence, the Master was recently awakened in his own heavily fortified Temple of Dragon, though he was swiftly defeated by Holf and company, but no body was found. There you go. That is what I have so far, and I think that's a good stopping point for Escabur. Not sure why there's a 2 there. There we go. So, oh, that's right. If I, I forgot, if I use my little keypad here, I also interact with my uh, OBS. That's why. So, darn, there might be moments of random letters, numbers, whatever. I'll find it eventually. But again, this is very loosely entangled. How should I say? I tried to do this with consistency, but I'm sure there are some inconsistencies, as developing a world this much is the first time I've ever tried it. This is like the most I've ever tried to build a world setting. Exeter before was very blank, kind of a placeholder, a blank template I worked off just in their respective episodes, in their respective campaigns. But this is, I think, the most work I've ever put into a world setting, and it's going to expand as long as I continue making the Escobar videos. So let me know what you guys think. If you catch any inconsistency, any problems, or any questions, I will try to remedy them, fix them, or hell, recommendations if you think. So again, I took away most of the factions from Corwood and just made it to be the Corwood family and then the rebellion. Simple as that. It's easy. There's no frost hands anymore, but I'll have to try to remember that when I'm doing the next episode. So that's really it for that. In the next episode, which will be tomorrow, I believe, for Escabur, for Mortar's Travels, I'll be going back to using the moves. So the Omni roll was fun, but I think it was more suitable for the unpredictable nature of the Dark Realms. It's very impromptu, improvised, which solo play is very impromptu, but the moves provide that very nice guidance and kind of lets you weave your way through the Oracle. But in the next episode, I'll use the moves and I'll play by the rules. So that's really it. I will do. Hope you guys enjoyed. And now for the outro. Well, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed this telling. Please subscribe, like, share, and most importantly, comment. See you in the next entry.